Hi, my name is Houston, and I am the Tone Chaser.
And my name's Jared, and herby derby derb, I don't know none about guitars. And today, Houston does the JHS Superbolt
Version 2.
Version 2. Let's talk about what is it? What does it do?
The Superbolt, in a nutshell, is a Supro amp
Okay.
in pedal form.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can't afford the amp, you buy the pedal. No? Yes?
Pretty much.
All right, pretty much. All right.
This will get you pretty close. So yeah, the initial idea of this pedal is that it is encapsulating the preamp tone of a vintage Supro or Valco amp, like from back I think in the 60s or so.
So these amps aren't made anymore?
They are actually. There was a reboot done by Pigtronics. They bought them out and they started remaking them, which is great because they're fantastic. I played them.
Are they expensive?
Not crazy. They're probably around the $1,000 range, which for like boutique amps isn't really that out of the box.
And this is in the what range?
This is $200.
This is more in my range. Let's talk about this.
This pedal essentially is encapsulating the preamp tone of some vintage Supro and Valco amps from around the 60s. The point of a lot of these amps and this pedal was to capture a really low wattage small amp cranked all the way up.
So is this a gain emulator without the gain? You can control your volume but keep the same intensity?
Yeah, it's essentially a copy of a generalized version of their preamp sections.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that a lot.
We are recording on my moniker, guitar's Dixie, semi-hollow, tele-style guitar.
He loves telling you guys that.
Yeah, every video I want to give my shout out to my boys at Moniker down in Austin, Texas. I'm using a Vox AC15, pretty standard, with a Sennheiser E906 and a generic large diaphragm condenser microphone.
Oh god, that all sounds so sexy, and I have no clue what any of that means. Let's listen to some guitar sounds, huh?
Alrighty, here we go. And here is the Superbolt version 2. Yeah, so
that's rowdy.
It is. It's really gnarly. I really love this pedal. It's one of my favorites from JHS. I say that this is a newer one, but I've had the old one before, the version 1. Not a whole lot different going on, but what you can hear immediately in this pedal is that it gets you that really squashed, almost fuzz territory where you hear a lot of that power amp section compression. So not only does it mimic the preamp, like I was saying earlier, it kind of mimics the sound of that power amp kicking in and getting really compressed and kind of just squashing your sound.
All right, put that in layman's terms for us at home.
Sure, so whenever you dig into an amp or a pedal, a lot more often than not, even some guitar pickups, they're going to compress. What that means, it's going to limit your dynamic range, so your louds become softer and your softs become louder. So specifically in this case, it's limiting or compressing the high end, so you're digging into it, but you're not getting any louder, you're just getting more gain out of it, essentially. So it just gets nastier and dirtier. But it still will speak a little bit, so. So it's a little hairy, but it's a little bit more controllable that way. So what a lot of compression will do for you is actually make you sustain more. Which is actually pretty favorable for lead tones. So I mean, crank up the gain a little bit, maybe turn up the tone and make it a little bit clearer. So you get those really saturated, fat lead tones as well with it.
No, I play a Telecaster. It's very bright. With that, how would that kind of mesh with this very warm pedal?
I think it counteracts it very nicely. I think what it doesn't play well with, and this is just my opinion, is like very thick sounding pickups. So like even on this guitar, like I have a humbucker that you can split into a single coil sound. So to get some of that single coil vibe, you can kind of use this to warm it up. humbucker. It still sounds great. But you get to more of those like ultra saturated, kind of almost like slide tones with that, which is cool. But I think where it really shines is with single coil pickups to really give them some more oomph.
Let's turn some knobs here. So what do we got?
Sure, it's a pretty standard layout. You have volume, tone, and drive. All pretty responsive. I think what they did in the V2, they didn't really touch it much, but I think they affected the tone sweep a little bit, affected the gain staging just a little bit. They just tweaked it to be a little bit more pleasing, which I haven't really noticed a whole lot of difference, but I think there's a little bit more drive on tap, and the tone feels like it does a little bit more. So a little comparison. So back off the gain a little bit. Back it off even more. You can kind of boost it a little bit. It's like kind of like a dirty boost. It's not super clean.
Yeah.
This is a non-transparent overdrive.
A non-transparent overdrive,
Yes,
as we've learned in the
Morning Glory.
Morning Glory,
Yeah.
the difference between transparence and opaqueness.
Yeah, this is very much designed to color your tone, as it were, or affect it in a way to add frequencies in certain areas and take away from frequencies in certain areas.
All right, so we're going to back way off the drive. Let's see what we got. I love that.
So yeah, just adding a little bit of grit, just kind of a little bit of that flavor. Just if you want kind of the tone, but not a lot of the grit from that Supro style.
Right. I love this sound. This is great. Now let's talk about features. We kind of got the classic. Is this what separates the two from the one? Is this right here?
That is one of the main functions. So this features what's called the JHS Red Remote System. Essentially what that does is gives you a remote way via small foot switch to flip this gain switch right here, which puts it in a higher gain mode. So if you want a little bit more and you don't want to bend down and tweak a knob, you can just hit a foot switch. You can buy those on JHS's website. They actually released the schematics for it, so if you're a tinkerer, you can make it yourself, which is pretty cool. But the one they offer is about yay big, really small footprint, about 1/8 the size of the pedal itself. So it's a nice way to just to kind of have like 2-in-1.
Right, so JHS really went out of their way to think of live players, live performers, and how they can get extra sounds out of what they're currently running. That way they don't need like 2 pedals to do what one pedal could do. They could just switch it right there. I love it.
Yeah, and they offer that in a lot of their line now.
Very cool. Is this a one-stop rock and roll shop?
Rock and roll, yes. Country, probably not. Metal, probably not. But just classic rock tones.
All-American rock.
Yeah.
I love it. So I'm sitting in Guitar Center. I'm hanging out with this 15-year-old kid, and I want to sound really smart. All right. And he's like, you know, I already have the Moonshine, and I already have the Morning Glory, and I've already have all these other JHS overdrive pedals. What's so special about the Superbolt? And if I gave him one sentence, what would I say?
It is the ability to make your rig sound, feel, sag and compress like a vintage super amplifier.
So this specifically strives for a vintage overdrive sound.
Yeah, specifically a Supro. I mean, it's in the name Superbolt, like Supro. It's kind of a slight pun. Yeah, but it's really designed to do that. And so if you really want to get hairy with it and see, this will go even beyond what the old Supros can do as far as gain territory. So.
I very much hear the compression that just really crunches, crushes it.
It kind of stops you and just really digs in, almost gets into like fuzz territory, which I really like.
Where in the chain would you put this?
With my other overdrives, typically I'll have like either like a transparent boost or transparent overdrive or a preamp pedal before, and then I'll put this kind of after to kind of emulate more like a distortion or fuzz. Because it is a bit of a higher gain pedal. I typically prefer those later in my chain.
All right, so I'm playing some 4-chord rock, and my solo is coming up. Is this already on, or would I use this as my lead boost?
I think it would work either way.
Either way.
Yeah, I really think it'll be at home, just as like if you want to just chunk some chords with it. Or if you want to really kick it in, either for just some more meaningful chord progression, just like big, huge last chorus kind of thing, or if you want to drive some leads into it.
That is nasty, and I love it. So we hope you enjoy our pedal review series so far. If you like it, be sure to like and subscribe, and leave us some comments on how we can improve our game. We try to make a very coherent, simple understanding of the pedals, where I ask them questions and he gives the answers to the best of his abilities. We hope you enjoy it, and be sure to like and subscribe for the next Houston Does.
Later, guys. Go check out Rogue One. I was gonna see if I could.
That was my best TIE Fighter impression. Be sure to reply with a video to show Houston how to play Star Wars on guitar.